Hello guys, it's a Hillbilly Halfwit. How are you today? What are we going to talk about today? We're having a little bit of a chat. I see everybody else is on about it today, the inheritance tax on farming, how they're going to change things. I talked about this months ago. Nobody would listen to me. I told them what was happening before the election. Nobody was bringing all this up. Everybody was saying, oh, how great it's going to be under Labour. Nobody was listening. Inheritance tax changes to farmland are coming, and you will not be able to pass your farm over to your siblings without losing half the farm. I can tell you that is coming because they want your land and my land. Now, as you know, I don't make much on here, and you're land rich, really, I suppose, but you never use the money because if you sell it, you've got nothing. So you'd just like to pass it on to somebody else afterwards. Who you think's worthy. That's how I look at it. And we're in a situation, it's like happened many, many years ago, where they did the same thing and all these estates, country estates, ended up falling down and things like that. But this time it's happening just to normal folk with not a lot. You watch, during my younger years, in the 70s and the 60s before I was born, lots of farms were bought by doctors because they were the top 2% of earners in the UK. And it'll happen again. These people, big wages on the civil service, will be buying this property and turning it into regenerative agriculture or whatever. And the people who've worked the land for years will never have it again. That's what the idea is. People need to work to realise what's going on. They only want people who in farming who have been to university and been brainwashed by this current fad. That's all they want. They're bringing people up now, even people of my age have been brought up through university only to believe what you're told, not to question anything. So if somebody says to them, black isn't black, it's grey, black is yellow, they believe it instantly without any proof of anything. Now this is what's happening. And God only knows what's going to happen. Indeed. But I just wonder, like I said, I've mentioned all this before, and thank you all for, of course, watching it and sharing it with me, sharing my stuff. But I mentioned that one word yesterday instead of Clermit, and I had a warning on. And I was demonetized on my video the other day with the BBC, mentioning Jill Dando. So that is the thing. See, I think lots of these big YouTubers from farming and on other things who get big for a reason. They get big for a reason because they only say what they are told to say. If they venture into saying a bit of truth, their subscriber account just drops like a stone. That's what's going on. You watch. You watch lots of these big YouTubers on the right and in politics even. They're allowed to get big because they can put over this certain narrative. Like I said, I'm not much of a big YouTuber, but it's nice to go around and people say, yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. And I think there's a majority of people in the UK feel like me. We're patriotic people. We love our country as a whole, I mean. I love Wales, of course, but I love the UK as a whole. And if I had to go to war, I'd fight for all of the UK. Absolutely love Wales beating England and Scotland on the rugby. But when it comes to bigger things, my dad fed it into me years ago that the UK, he'd been around the world a bit when he was younger in the military and things. And he was saying that the UK is the only country in the world pretty much where nothing will kill you, hardly. No animal will kill you. You can only have to go across the border, you get had by rabies, spiders can bite you, then kill you, snakes. It's pretty hard to get killed in the UK by anything really, unless you're a dumb nut or things that we've made, isn't it? You know, nature is of course dangerous, but anything that you go into any other part of the world, you get eaten by some kind of animal or bitten by some kind of animal. Dad always said when he came back to the UK, he instantly realised how much of a nice country it was. And sadly, we've got people who hate our country in charge of our country now. And you're not even allowed to say that you like your country. And like I say, you've got big farming YouTubers. Uh, they're always trying to sell you something. And they won't delve into the actual problems. They could do a lot of good. The Ollie Blogs and the Tom Pembertons could do a lot of good if they risked a bit of something. But they won't risk it because of that. They won't risk it. Now, there's lots of farming YouTubers like that. They get to a certain size and then they're scared to say anything because the money is what it's all about. Now, as you know here, I don't make bugger all off YouTube. Thankfully enough to pay for my internet, that's all, which is a good thing. But I'm just trying to help the farming community in reality of what's happening. Now, the reality is we're being attacked by very, very wealthy people and academia that hate farming. I say this before all the time, it's an academic-led cult. And many, many years ago, there was a guy, the Unabomber, and he had this manifesto, which basically is what the academics all loved. They loved it then, and they're actually following it now. Can you believe it? Some people are actually saying that it was right. It's how can you hate the people that feed you? And thankfully for this channel, all the people that subscribe and comment, at least 99.9% of people who always comment like farming and farmers. It's just this nutty academic lot on the media. And I just wish the other percentage of people would not believe everything they're told, because they're being led into this dystopian future where they think everything's going to be great, but you're not going to be able to eat what you want. You're just going to be fed this plastic stuff. You know, like margarine and things like that was just made because it was a byproduct of petroleum, wasn't it? You know, isn't it one step off plastic? I think I read that years ago. That's what really this new meat is going to be like, really. It's just going to be a similar thing. It's all about control over you. And I know I've rambled on for a lot now, but when are people going to wake up? You know, there's us. There's maybe 6,000 of us who watch this and some others, but lots of people are just, they've closed their mind off. They let it all happen. They're happy to be told what to do, where they can go, what they can eat. And they go down with their shoulders down and their head down. Instead of, if somebody says something to you, say, no, I don't actually agree with that. You know, I have lawful rights to allow to do what I want. Thank you very much. Bit like in London at the moment, them ULEZ guys are doing a spot on job. If everybody, all the population did that, there'd be none of it. Hack a lot down, in my opinion, and in Wales. If all the population decided tomorrow night to go and hack down all the 20-mile-an-hour signs in your area, they couldn't do a thing about it because it'd all be down in one night. But people do not get it. You need to get some balls, people. Farming is going to be, especially stock farming in Wales, we're going to be like something in some museum. before it's too late, and nobody is doing a thing. All these unions are all in on it. It's all about the dosh they're getting. They're getting paid off. So the attack on farming continues, and there we are. Bit depressing one today, but I'm happy enough because I ignore it all. But the reality is people need to do something. And the only thing that was working last time, when the farmers' protests started with them tractors, that was completely destroying the narrative on TV. The MPs in their own areas were having these tractors around their offices. It really scared them. I don't mean what's called, because they realised the public weren't on their side. But then, when the Farmers Union got involved, they stopped it all. That was no coincidence. No coincidence. Think about it. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. All the best.